child tax credit checks are on the schedule for this year, with the second half of the payments arriving during tax season in 2022. By the end of this year, families will have received 6 advance installments, totaling up to $1,800 per child, an increase from previous years. But the big question still remains: will the new enhanced child tax credit payments be extended beyond 2022? There's a possibility that the revamped benefit could be extended, depending on the final details of President Joe Biden's spending plan. Currently, Democrats are negotiating how long it will continue. The debate is leaning towards 1 year. Until it becomes final legislation, there are still several deadlines for the remainder of this year's credit that parents need to be aware of. For example, families that are choosing to opt out of the advance payment program need to do so before November 29. Here's why you might want to unenroll. It's also a good idea for families to update their banking details, income and mailing address through the IRS update portal sooner rather than later. And here's what to know if you received the wrong payment amount. The latest on the enhanced child tax credit getting extended past 2022. Given the popularity of the program with millions of families, there's a chance the credit could be extended. A recent study published by the Urban Institute shows that if the child tax credit is extended beyond 2021, it could substantially reduce child poverty in the vast majority of U.S. states. And most recently, the Democrats are in talks about extending the credit for just 1 year due to slimming the spending amount of the bill. A Washington-based think tank called the Bipartisan Policy Center put out a proposal for permanently expanding the child tax credit. On Sept. 15, more than 400 leading economists sent an open letter urging Congress to make the enhanced credit permanent. The letter noted that the benefit would help families with immediate necessities, like food and utilities, and could drastically improve children's health and education. Most recently, lawmakers proposed extending the child tax credit to just 1 year, in an effort to trim the cost of President Joe Biden's $3.5 trillion plan. But others are still pushing for the credit to be extended to 2025. For instance, House Democrats came up with a proposal to keep the increased benefit going until 2025. Which would also allow low-income families who don't earn enough to owe taxes to get the benefit. Some are looking to approve its extension in the spending bill through a process known as budget reconciliation, which requires a simple majority vote in the Senate. But congressional Democrats are divided over the benefit. In a CNN interview, Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia expressed reservations, saying he'd prefer that parents be eligible to receive the credit only if they work and file taxes. His vote is critical for the bill to pass the Senate. According to an insider report, other Democrats are considering extending the current child tax credit payment program until 2024 instead, but the amount of money would be less than this year's payments, that is, reverting to the lower amounts from prior years. Remaining deposit dates for the child tax credit payments: the IRS has 2 more rounds of advance partial payments to send to those who qualify. Here are the payment dates to keep track of November through December 2021 and in 2022. November 15th Dec. 15. Last payment of 2021, tax season 2022. Remainder of money. After you receive whatever monthly payments the IRS sends you this year, the remainder of your money will come with your tax refund in 2022, after you file your 2021 tax return next spring. While the IRS did extend the 2020 and 2021 tax filing dates due to the pandemic, you typically have from the end of January to April 15 to file. Remaining deadlines to unenroll from advance checks. If you decide to unenroll from the monthly payments this year, you still have time to have the remainder of your child tax credit money show up next tax season. You may decide to unenroll, for example, if you think you may need to pay back money when you file your taxes in 2022. Note that the IRS opt-out deadlines are about 2 weeks ahead of the payment dates. If you miss one deadline for a round of checks, your changes will take effect with the next round. And these are the same deadlines you need to hit for making other changes to your account, such as adding your banking information or changing your mailing address. The update portal doesn't yet allow you to make changes to your marital status and number of dependents. Here are the remaining dates by which you would need to unenroll. November 29, for December payment. Can families determine how the credit will affect tax season? To help you file your taxes next year and either claim whatever amount the IRS still owes you or, much less likely, repay money you received but didn't qualify for, the IRS will send you a letter in January 2022 with the total amount of child tax credit money you received in 2021. You'll use information from this letter, which the IRS is calling Letter 6419, when you file your tax return. For more, here's everything you need to know about the 2021 child tax credit and what to do if you need to track down a missing payment. Here's also what we know about what the spending bills making their way through Congress could mean for you. Millions of eligible parents have received 5 child tax credit payments now. paper checks are coming in the mail for some who didn't get a direct deposit this month. But some eligible families are still waiting on checks from prior months or haven't received money at all this year. If that's you, it could be due to inaccurate or outdated information on your 2020 tax return. It also may be that the IRS doesn't know you're eligible. Or it could be that USPS mail slowdowns are delaying printed checks coming by mail. It's not easy to get in touch with the IRS for help. However, there are a few steps to take before the next check comes. First, double-check the IRS update portal to make sure your information is correct and make any changes before the next deadline, November 29. If everything is right, we'll share other ways to get clues about where your money is. Plus, here's the latest on the child tax credit extension and how many child tax credit payments are left. We'll also share the last unenrollment deadline to add to your calendar. This story was updated recently. Why you haven't received your child tax credit payment yet? Here are a number of other possible reasons why your family hasn't received a payment for one of the prior months. If you're married filing jointly and only one spouse recently updated your bank account or address in the IRS update portal, you may have not received a September payment. This technical issue should have been corrected. Based on an IRS statement, 2% of families due to receive the credit, amounting to roughly 700,000 families, did not receive their September 15 payment. The households affected should have received their payments in subsequent weeks, according to the IRS. Your payment was sent by mail and it's still held up by the U.S. Postal Service. Due to a technical issue in August, millions of families received their checks by snail mail instead of direct deposit. You have a mixed status household using an individual taxpayer identification number, or where one parent is an immigrant and the child has a social security number. Because of an IRS mishap, those families may not have received their first July payment, but should have qualified for adjusted amounts in August and September. Your family never filed a 2019 or 2020 tax return, so the IRS doesn't know that you qualify. If that's the case, use the non-filer sign-up tool online to register for payments by the extended November 15 deadline. You lived in the U.S. less than half the year in 2019 or 2020, and the IRS doesn't think you qualify, even if you now have a primary residence in the U.S. Your new baby or adopted dependent became part of your household after you filed a 2020 tax return, and you haven't been able to update those details in the IRS portal yet. The option to add dependents was supposed to be available this fall. Your household circumstances in 2020 disqualified you, even though your situation has now changed in 2021. This could be the case if your income was previously too high or if there was a shift in a custody arrangement. You already unenrolled from this year's advance monthly payments using the IRS update portal. If that's the case, your family will receive the credit when you file your taxes in 2022. The option to re-enroll was supposed to be made available this fall, but the IRS hasn't allowed it yet. Why your child tax credit payment amount was inaccurate? There are several reasons why families are reporting wrong payment amounts. First, you'll want to quickly verify your eligibility through the Eligibility Assistant. Then we suggest using QUINT's Child Tax Credit Calculator to see how much you should be receiving based on your income and the ages of your dependents. One possible reason for a lower payment is if only one spouse changed an address or bank account in the IRS update portal. In that case, the other spouse's half could have gone to the old address or bank account. Another reason why parents are getting inaccurate payment amounts is if the IRS processed your 2020 tax return late, or it wasn't filed until recently, and the agency only recently adjusted payment eligibility amounts for the previous monthly check. An additional complication is that there's currently no way to inform the IRS of the number, or ages, of children between the 2020 and 2021 tax seasons. More functionality was supposed to be added to the update portal to allow parents to add or subtract qualifying children this fall. Right now, you can change your income in the portal by going to Manage Advance Payments and selecting Report Life Changes. Keep in mind that parents of children younger than age 6 can receive up to $300 per month or $250